Hello and welcome. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I'm going to start a little slow. I want to do a guard clauses. Guard clauses are very interesting structures if you're used to a lot of this nested spaghetti code. It allows us to kind of exit or short circuit a function quickly so that we aren't waiting for other things to happen or we aren't nesting a bunch of logic. So let me just show you. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a class. This one will be called, let's call it user access. And inside here, I'm going to create is allowed. So let's just assume that we're using this to see if a user has permission to view a certain resource. So one of the things we could probably do is do like if user.admin and user permissions includes, let's say, view reports. Yeah. And then we can add an else in here. And we can do we could do like a true here. So we like, hey, yeah, we're just going to return true if this is happening. But if it's not true, we can check if the user is remote. An else in here too. We'll say, let's say we have to get the permission. So we say remote permission equals remote permission checker.new. We'll pass in the user in this hypothetical system. And we can say remote permission dot allow. And then in our else, we'll say false. And so this is going to return true or false if our user's remote. This will return false, obviously, if our user's not remote at all. So we're kind of saying like, hey, we want to check if the user's an admin. If they're an admin, let's use these special permissions. But if they're not, we'll check this online service. So it's a little bumpy. There's ways you could optimize this without using guard clauses. But let me show you it guarded. So something like this could be done. We could do return true if user.admin and user permission includes. So we're just saying, hey, we want to know if the user is an admin. And if you look at the logic, it's just kind of goes through procedurally. We don't really need to do much else than this. We say new user allow, and then just return false. So this is how a guard clause works. We're taking this structured, nested structure of ifs and whatnot, and then we are shrinking it down to more usable chunks of logic. And then we're just, like I said, kind of short-circuiting this method to go back and just return a value based on something imperative. And you'll find that I'd say 90% of the time there's some pretty extreme examples where 30, 40, 50 lines of logic is reduced down to 2 lines or things like that. It's especially beautiful in Ruby because of the 1-line return ifs. But it works in all languages. And in fact, what I have here is I have JavaScript here. And I prepared a little bit of JavaScript just to show as an example. So what I'm going to do here is show the same method that has been written, and then I'm going to rewrite it here with the guard clause, similar to what we did with Ruby, just to show that it doesn't have to be, Ruby. And of course, you look at that, it's trying to autocomplete that. But what I'll do is I'll say here user.is admin and is user permissions includes, and then we'll just say return true. So let me get rid of this superfluous there. So very similarly, we're just returning if a condition is true before we even get any deeper, because we know that if a user is an admin and they have permissions, all we care about is that they can access this resource. And so similarly, we'll take this and say if they're remote, we will pull up our remote permission, check it, and then return that value. And then we're just going to return false. It's as simple as that. So that's how it looks in JavaScript. And then I have a full example I've prepared of it in Python. Python already is pretty, it's pretty condensed, but this is an example here of two different methods that could possibly be used. It's a little less impressive in Python because of the the verbosity of the language as it is, but you can still read it easier. So you go like if else, and then in this condition if else, and here we're just saying if we're an admin and we have this permission, true, or if we're remote and we have this condition, true. Any other case, it's false. So yeah, that's an example of guard clauses. I wanted to show it in multiple languages to show that it's not just something that can be used in one language, but can be used pretty much across the technology stack to create more concise, readable code. So anyways, I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.